simple, Jay.
No pictures.
Okay, so it is like 3.5 years later or something. Hope you don't mind the break. This is our first Flurry Friday in a long time, and that's largely because we've just had a lot to do. But it seems like with so much going on, it's worth kind of catching up, and we really want to reestablish this pattern because we had a great time. We had a lot of followers, so why not just start again? We thought our first episode, and we hope to do these about every other week now for a while. We're going to see how that goes and if we can keep the schedule. But we thought really we need to do a catch-up because it's been a long time. So if memory serves, the last time we were here was probably Wind Up Robots had launched, I think, in the early part of that year, and we were sort of moving on into Wind Up Football and some of that other stuff. Well, that has largely gone way off to the backside, and if you guys have been watching the blog, which obviously is a different thing, the big news for us in the last several years has been Redwall. We found ourselves in the unbelievably fortuitous or providential place where we wound up with a gaming license to Redwall, like one of the most awesome, cool, and not to mention huge properties in the friggin' galaxy. And the truth of the matter is that has taken up a lot of time and energy, especially just on the getting ready to get ready side. I think that we announced probably that we had this deal a long time ago, and we ran a Kickstarter campaign to kind of get the ball rolling, and that went all great. Everything's fine. What we had not anticipated is all of the hoops that happen after that. It's all brand new. Apologize for all that, but probably not too many times. So it is what it is. But the bottom line is it's taken up a lot of time and energy, and all for really good stuff. That said, Redwall is its own topic, and we're going to kind of like punt on that for right now because we have some more immediate things going on. But for anyone who's asking, yes, it's still in development. Yes, everything's good. Nothing went wrong. It's just we underestimated the time that was going to be required on all the legal stuff. Okay, so now all you Redwall people know that nothing's sideways. What we also have been going on is G Prime. So G Prime is the big project that we started up in the interim here, and it is just about to go live on Xbox One, which is another huge deal. We got accepted into the ID program at Xbox, which we have totally loved. They've been super great to work with. It's a gigantic honor. And I have a confession to make on that thing, is that when we got accepted, I assumed it was sort of like getting accepted to the App Store. In other words, no big deal. I just figured, okay, so we got accepted to another store, who really cares? Not that we didn't take it seriously, but I did not understand the gravity of sort of what the ID program was about. I remember one writer said that whoever can figure out why the Xbox Live Arcade did not become the Apple App Store would sort of like win the next console war. You know, the Xbox Live Arcade became a lot like the App Store. It was just covered and stuff was everywhere, and not everybody was happy about it. But ID is totally different, and at least last we checked, like they are really curating the content that comes out of there in a nice way. And so what I did not realize was that it's a genuine and gigantic honor that we got selected. So once I kind of got my head wrapped around that, I started to realize that what we wanted to do with G Prime was really a huge culmination of coming full circle for us. When we started Soma Games in 2007, the idea in the back of our head is we wanted to make console games for the 360. But we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't have any software, we didn't have any hardware, we didn't have any skills, we had no clue what we were getting into. And what we wound up doing in that case was taking a big idea and shrinking it down to something much smaller, and that's what was our first iPhone game, was G Into the Rain. 7 years later, or gosh, 8 years later, depending on how you're counting it, here we are coming all the way back to our very first title. And what's exciting about this is that for all the stuff that we had to cut out of the original G, we get to put it in here now. And I don't just mean bloat. I mean, there's so much backstory, there's so much fun, there's so much stuff that we really had always wanted to put in the game, but we just had no way to do it. So G Prime is like kind of like coming home. It's kind of like full circle. This is the game we wanted to make all those years ago, but we couldn't. And it's just a gigantic honor. And it just feels like I want to say closure, when that's partly true, but it's more like that's more like a new beginning, right? It's sort of like we've come all the way around the circle once, but now we're at a higher level. We know so much more about how to do these, the programming, the design, the art, all that stuff. Like we're just in a much better place, and I feel like we've kind of earned our stripes in this regard. So it's a gigantic honor, one, to be on the console we wanted to make with the title we wanted to make, and not only that, but now we really have the support of the guys at ID, and it's a gigantic thing. So that's the main. There are other things to catch up on that are probably a lot less interesting, and we'll get to in some of the future episodes. But the two big things that are worth catching up on are G Prime and Redwall, and I wanted to get those set up. And I think outside of that, one of the things that may not be clear is that all along this time, without any interruption, we have continued to do conferences and speaking. We continue to develop for RealSense, for Intel. All that stuff has gone on, and so none of that has actually shifted. But there has been a lot more work on the CodeMonkey side of the thing, which is basically our work for hire side, and frankly on the internal Soma side, like we've been kind of on one thing that wasn't ready yet. So that helps to explain some of it. Plus, if you remember, there was this thing where like the economy shot itself in the head, and there was that season there where that affected us not in a trivial way. And so I don't mind saying that one of the things that slowed us down was stuff got tough. Stuff got real, and we had to get by the skin of our teeth, but we did, and that's the important part. Looking very much forward to doing more of these, get back in the groove, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode, where I believe that we're going to talk about G Prime and kind of the story behind the story. All right, bye-bye.